when you woke up, I'd have a bit of stiffness, and I thought it was just, I'm old and therefore. But when I was in the beds in Starwood, I got out of bed with absolutely no pain. And this became a conversation, and they said that some of their customers had remarked when they checked out that they had a really great sleep. And so one of the teams started looking at buying a bed and found that buying a bed is really complicated. You go to a store, you lie on a bed for 5 minutes and people look at you strangely. And then you have an old bed that you have to get out of your house. You have to get a new bed in, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then they found some really fun statistics that over 10 years, I think, or 5 years, your bed doubles in weight because it absorbs all kinds of unmentionable things. And therefore, and your pillow's the same thing because, you sweat at night, And they came up with this idea that, our customers use our beds. They know how good it is. Can we not supply them beds? And since, it's a Starwood hotel, they buy beds in bulk. So they could get good quality beds at a much lower price than you or I. And they came up with this idea of Sweet Sleeper. And the bed company would deliver the bed to your house, in their trucks, and take away your old bed. And it worked out to something like a cup of coffee a day.
Yeah, we worked out with DHL to take the old. The biggest pain point wasn't putting the bed in; it was taking the old bed
away. Yeah.
So people wouldn't change their beds as they should every 5 years, and moreover, people really don't need to own a bed. So we made it a lease program. So you lease the bed, and you can use your points to lease it. Linens are changed every year. It becomes more of a service than a product. And it all came around. Actually, it started with us calling customer service, trying to order a bed. And we recorded it and we played it for the CEO for Europe and Middle East Africa. And it's astounded. This is what happens if you try to buy one of our beds. And so that's where it started. And then, so then we did the going to purchase a bed and doing it uncomfortable, laying down in the bed in the showroom. And it's very, very irritating. But what we found was the biggest pain point was actually getting rid of the old bed.
Yeah.
And so that's what we addressed.
Which is on the buy experience cycle. We have an outfit that says disposal. And in many cases, there is, if you buy something and you replace something, there is always a disposal. I mean, if it's a contract, it's turning off the contract. Come to France and sign up in the old days for internet and stuff. Getting rid of your contract is impossible.
I still have a contract with France Telecom, I think.
And you get letters saying you owe us money. And I say, no, I tried to close this 2 years ago. I don't live in that house anymore. So, but it became a $15 million business. And then, all the other bread companies copied it.
Yeah, actually.
No, we had lots of ideas. Then they didn't implement all the ideas, but it's also, you could stay in the hotel for 2 days, and if you bought the bed, they will, comp the hotel, et cetera, et cetera. Because it was not just one sale; it was a series of sales, and every year they gave you new linen, they gave you new pillows, and so there was also
the emotional relationship.
The emotional relationship, because one of Starwood's words, they had 7 or 8 words, was belong. And so this continuous connection and using your loyalty points, etc., was pretty good. One of the other guy used to work with us, he actually ordered the bed. Now, Jason and I don't actually live in one place long enough to order a fancy bed.
Exactly.
Anyway, but no, that's it was a good illustration of the process. Pain points, finding out that it's very, there's lots of unthought of issues that you don't think about when you're buying a bed. That it's not easy. How do you choose it? How do you get it home? How do you get rid of the old one, etc., etc. I think I have the value curve somewhere. Anyway.
So nice. And then you had all these direct delivery services for your bed, Metalsome and so on from internet. And they come, it arrives, they deliver it. It's very compressed, and just you open it up. It's without air, and it's deployed on the bed, and they take always, of course, your previous Metalsome. And you can try, and it's one of the at this time I think it was a brochure. You can try for 100 nights this new bed for free, and you can change your decision when you want for 100 nights. It's the same. Maybe continuity is inspired maybe by this.
Most people don't. But
of course. And it costs and this raw materials and this equipment. It's so cheap. In fact,
it doesn't matter.
They don't care if you change your mind. They trash it. So maybe let's have a round table, and to ask you maybe if you feel comfortable with the ideation process, and maybe if you already had some ideas, and maybe which ideas with your group yesterday, and if you want to share some thought about this last 2 days we had as a session. So we want to start. I saw maybe maybe group industry per industry. We can have for instance, Brighton, Canayo, Bami. Did you add yesterday some interesting ideas, and was it easy for you to start this ideation process, or not so much, or energy group, full of energy?
Hi there everyone.
Hi, Canayo.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to think of an idea, like especially, I don't know what makes it hard. It's just like you also think like, okay, is this blue ocean or not? And then you realize, oh, a Google search will tell you you're in a red ocean already. So it's hard, but we're getting there. I think, it becomes easier the more ideas you get.
When you start, it's when the process starts, maybe don't check for now on Google if it's blue ocean or not. As we said, for this ideation part, the first objective is to have a maximum of ideas listed on your platform, on your project. Now maybe you have the objective of 100, maybe more than 100. And then when you have all these ideas, you will go back to this and make your choice, and maybe merge ideas, and they will be better. It's a step by step. Don't have a too high objective at the beginning. Just first objective is the volume of ideas.
I see.
Generate the maximum. And Bami and Brighton, and I remember yesterday I give you some tips you asked me about this focalization. As we said, first you take 10-20 minutes on your own, each member of the group on his own to write, to list ideas in using this focalization, row by row. You have the focalization on the key needs, row by row of the 6 paths, and then you share all the group, maybe to adapt or to have new ideas to complete your list, and then you can do this each pass after each of the 6 paths. It was after we discussed it, with the group, Bami and Brighton, Canayo, it was easier to do it, or it was efficient, or?
Yeah. So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Bami.
Yeah. So I didn't get a chance to sit with Canayo and Brighton after yesterday's session because I think there was quite a bit I needed to go and do back. But a couple of ideas that came to me at night were just around, firstly, delivering energy savings with energy saving appliances. So delivering a solution where you have an app where it allows you to save energy by also providing energy saving appliances to you. So, for example, it recommends the sort of light bulbs that you need to use and so on, in order to maybe get the required level of intensity as well as the required level of energy use in order to get your energy use down. Of course, like none of these are really concrete right now. It's just me just listing as many as possible.
Yeah.
And another one was to come up with different contracting ways that that energy could be used. So the one issue right now is usually people get slapped with a bill at the end of the month, or they get they have their prepaid meters. And if we could find different ways of letting people know real time in that they're using this much amount of energy, or this is the cost of energy at this point in time, that fits into smart meters though. And I guess maybe another one was to in general just link the energy savings to the bank account, because usually what happens is that, and I know it sounds really pie in the sky, but what happens is that, for prepaid meters, for example, people have to load, well, they first have to buy and then they need to load it into their meters. Meanwhile, the users from the interview saw that, like, why do we need to buy and then load? Why can't this just be linked directly in some way to the bank account? So maybe having an allowance in the bank account for energy use and automatically having that billed directly to the user's profile, with alerts going off with the bank as well. So almost like a compartment of your bank account, or energy use budget being allocated in your bank account for energy, and having real-time streaming on that to some extent. Just some of the pie in the sky ideas I was just having around the
It's good.
energy.
It's good. Yeah. It's you need to write all these ideas on your platform, on the project, to share all these ideas with your group and with the coaches visiting you, and to have the flow. It's a question from Mia on the chat. Yeah, of course. It's very good to start the flow and having the maximum of ideas first on your own, and then you share with the group, and you have again more and more ideas. And your first objective is to have even today, because as we said, Mia, we have until the 3rd of February to decide which big idea you will select. So today we'll show you how to do this selection, but it's just for you to be ready to do that. But if you are still in the flow, if you have not yet followed not yet explored. It's the term is exploration of the 6 paths. If you have not yet explored each of your 6 paths, using this focalization with the key needs you have identified, it means you still have a potential to find new ideas. So yeah, let's find them.
Alban, I just want to comment on something Tmeling raised. Yeah, so Tmeling is speaking about, prepaid meters already being linked to bank accounts. Yeah, I think that is something that's already done. I'm speaking more around, once it's been linked to the bank account, usually what happens is people buy on their app, and at the same time, then they take those token numbers and then they punch it into the prepaid meter. So instead of doing that, why not have it, a budget, on the app, where once you buy on the app, automatically it links to your prepaid meter, and to some extent you just, it feeds off that budget. That way, stopping the multiple hops. But then again, like I said, these ideas are not fully formed. They're just pie in the sky. Maybe there is a value in real-time streaming of money to some extent. I don't know. I know it's something that's really hard, and maybe with taking into consideration the new technologies like blockchain, it's something that's possible.
Yeah, sure. All is possible. Yeah, we are in the ideation part. All is possible. There is no feasibility issues or problems to be asked. It just all is possible. And then when you will have your big ideas selected, and you can also use these interviews. Some of you are still interviews planned. You can use these interviews to help you in the selection. You can try some ideas and submit them to your interviewee, and make your choice by this way also. And also talk around you and your family, friends, colleagues, and ask them, okay, what do you think of that? What do you think? It's a good way also to try to test these ideas, to make your choice. Okay, thanks a lot. I think it looks good. You are on the good way on this flow of ideas. Maybe the group with about mobility and eco bicycle, Kamogeleng, Tabang. Same question, maybe. Yeah, what did you find? Is it easy to start this ideation flow? Are you comfortable with this process of focalization with the key needs on each of the 6 paths you have found, you have described?
Taban, are you gonna go?
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It was okay. I think when we were looking at the 6 paths, there were some that we didn't complete properly. So we and in general, I think as we were coming up with ideas, we were kind of refining the process, because even the characteristics that we were comparing the competitors with was different. I think when George came, he helped a lot in redirecting what we should be focusing on. But we did come up with a lot of ideas. There were even more ideas before that. And yeah.
You have some examples? Some you would like to share? Maybe to have reactions from the group.
Yeah, I mean, the first one was the waste plastic bicycle. But we did have other features there, like, because people are worried about the weather and stuff, we could have a convertible umbrella, like something, so that it protects them from the rain. and also the design, because most people were talking about the seat not being comfortable. So if the seat changes, if the frame changes to allow that comfortability, and if there was another lady that mentioned that she wears dresses, so if so a bicycle doesn't accommodate that. So having a different design that would accommodate different people. And I don't know, Tabang, are you here? Do you remember the others? Oh, we also talked about adding like gadgets on the bicycle to make it more modern. So also that adding there's that thing that I forgot. It's existing. But okay, anyway, it stores energy as you ride. So that energy can supply different gadgets on the bicycle. And you would have like, you can connect your GPS and different stuff, or maybe have dynamo. Yeah, that's it. So as you ride, you create electricity that can be stored, and then different gadgets can be used on the bike to make it more modern. You can connect your GPS, Wi-Fi, whatever you need on the bike. But we did add them on that side. I just, my computer's a bit slow, but we did add the ideas on the Ignite site, something.
Okay.
Yeah.
And about the ideation process and the flow, it was easy. You had some programs to manage it. Yeah. It was okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mia did help us in the beginning because we didn't really catch it properly, but it was easier to think about ideas related to certain topics. Like if we're looking at a certain topic on the sixth path and the key need, it was easier to figure out. So what can we come up with to meet this need, and while we're being creative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have a comment from Itumeleng on the chat. You can open your microphone if you want, Itumeleng.
I was gonna say I like the idea of power. Cycle with the power. I think that's a good idea.
Source of power, power supply. And
then we also have this benefit of it's for
it's
health.
It's moving. It's sustainable. It can be it's interesting. You can save. It's still again mobility. It's meeting the energy field and sustainability and waste management. So see all your industries, they can be connected and to create very interesting offerings and projects. Yeah, maybe there is something I agree with Itumeleng about this for free, for free energy supply moving all around the city. There's maybe something.
Yeah. I think it would also be useful for like people who are into, to tap in that tourism. So if you're riding and your phone dies, you have a charger on your bike, that would be cool. Yeah,
for the fleet of, you mean fleet of bicycles for tourists? That you mean?
Like if you are not in a place where you can charge, so maybe you're riding in your farm or somewhere where you know that there's no electricity close to you,
Or load shedding. Oh,
Yeah, all those load shedding. You
connected,
can
yeah.
go out and ride your bike and charge your phone.
Do some sport and then you can go back
I
on
don't
internet.
I think it can also, be a stationary bike if you're thinking about in spaces like maybe at the airport or in schools where, you don't want people to not come back with the bike. It could be a stationary bike that people just ride for 10 minutes to charge and not necessarily have to.
But a fitness center.
Yeah, but I mean, in those spaces where you might need
special, yeah.
like maybe in malls or
Yeah, in big space, yeah, in airports and so on. Yeah, to let them do some sport and to give them something free in exchange of this sport, taking care of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Some other reactions for the eco bicycle group, mobility group. I would say it's good to have perspective. Mia, you have some comments. Jason, George, you want some reaction about these ideas or this first time? Yeah.
Not at this point, thanks, Alban.
Okay. Bungi Kozi, it's an incredible idea. Well done to the group. Yeah. Feel free to open your microphone. We are not so many. It's a discussion. It can be very useful also to have real-time reactions to your ideas.
No, but Mia gave the group a lot of ideas for sourcing plastic, maybe building prototypes, etc., from her maker group, product design capabilities, etc.
It's like these ideas they had. It's like the anti-sun mobility because you unswap the battery when it's charged.
Yeah.
When it's charged by the bicycle, you unswap and you have a power supply.
Yeah, we were just sorry. I thought when everyone had come into the main session again yesterday afternoon, I mentioned all these links. So I thought let me not repeat myself, but we were just talking about looking elsewhere for the possible ways of using recycled plastic if that's the way they go. To not try and think of the bicycle as it is now, but think what the material and the technique of converting that recycled material could give you. And therefore I directed them to precious plastics and plasticpreneur communities. That is kind of a ground up plastic shredding, melting and molding community worldwide. And then also to look at generative design to work from what forces a bike needs to carry and design from that point to get to a form rather than just recreate a bicycle form, bicycle frame form the way we know it. So I directed them to that BMW bike and the Airbus bike, which has a 3D printed or metal sintered frame, which looks quite different because it's designed to address the forces it needs to carry rather than what we know. So seeing where that leads them, and also what the link that George gave them to Muzi bikes, plastic recycled bikes, recycled plastic bikes from Brazil, and you can have a look at their form and shape in terms of using a different material gives you a different form rather than just remaking what we know with pipes and tubes.
Yeah, sure. Kanayo, you raise your hand to react?
Just like for comment, I found something very interesting last night about waste management. I don't know if anyone wants to take it, but and this sounds kind of crazy. I was reading up that they're using mushrooms to like manage waste because mushrooms are natural decomposers. They can even decompose things like plastic, and they can suck up oil and toxins from water and stuff like that. So, but it's there's not much research to do it on an industrial scale. But like I see there could always be an opportunity to use mushrooms to for waste management. It sounds kind of crazy, but yeah.
Of course, yeah, mushrooms. It's very used in the recycling and the plants, you know, to treat waste when you want to, yeah, to not only to burn the waste and it's very used. Veolia, I'm sure they use a lot of that. Yeah, it's technology, it's feasibility. You know, even the plastic molds, injection, and recycling the plastic, and also mushrooms. You are engineers, yeah, we feel it. You talk about feasibility. Yeah, let's dream and have the maximum of crazy ideas. When you will reach the very crazy ideas, even you don't think it's possible today, it will be the objective. It means you will have all the ideas you could have. It's the objective, to be surprised by the ideas you will have. You see, and don't think about feasibility. You will have time later to think about the feasibility. Really. Okay, another group, major group about education. Pongi Kozi, I see you are here. Education group. So what did you already get some interesting ideas, and are you comfortable with the ideation process?
Good morning, everyone.
Hi, Pongi Kozi.
Hi. As I've already jotted down some ideas, I'm still learning to come up with other ideas, new ideas. So I wouldn't say I'm finding it completely difficult. What I can say is that I'm learning and also reviewing yesterday's sessions. It makes things easier. So it's all good from my side.
And you have some interesting ideas you would like to share? Yeah. Yeah. You have your favorite one?
I only have you know, my favorite ones, the ones that I introduced, I think the last 2 days. Yeah, I think it's the last 2 days. So I don't have new ideas. It's the old one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the one you discussed yesterday with Leonid.
Yeah. Those are the ones. Yes.
Okay. Okay, great, nice. And we have also Matoke and Empo about the housing industry. Hi.
Yes, morning everyone.
Morning everyone.
Yes, no, we had a couple of ideas that we ran with Mpo yesterday during the workshop. That period we were discussing the ideas. Mainly our ideas, most of them are coming from the interviews that we have done based on the pain points that we identified. So what we wanted to do is to cater for those needs towards the customers. So as what it was indicated previously, that another pain point is for them is that they don't want to be committed on the long-term agreements or long-term mortgages. So we thought, why not also implement access for housing where these individuals are not engaged in a long-term contract, where it can have something like a month-to-month contract, so they don't feel that much obligated or to incur any penalties should they decide to leave from. Another one is the country is the issue of load shedding. So it would be beneficial for them to have another access for power In this case, we're thinking of solar systems, that the houses can be solar powered, but we know that solar can come very expensive, especially for an individual. It might end up increasing the price of the housing. So we thought about something that maybe we can centralize this power system that can be shared within the communities. Yes.
Why not bicycle? No?
I'm sorry.
Why not bicycle? It can be a connection.
So another one that we thought about is that the safety. Safety is a very big concern amongst the people there, especially in township. So we thought that when we were planning this thing, we might need to make sure that the security is tied where these individuals will be located. The only way to achieve that maybe is to have one central gate where if it's a complex type of a thing, there's only one main entrance, that we don't have so many entrances getting inside the complex, or where we don't even know how to monitor who got in, who's going where, etc. So if we can have that on those properties that we might be having, where people will be staying, to make sure that the access there is really restricted, it's safe for everyone. I think there was another one. This one, I think Mpho might also assist there to make our house more flexible. Yeah.
Oh yeah, if I can jump in there, Matoke, I think another thing that we also had our minds wrapped around was the fact that you know, the people that we've spoken to, one of the biggest pain points is the price, affordability. So obviously that would bring us to a more affordable house, sustainable as well. So obviously now we were thinking of, okay. Well, another thing that we found out was that different people would feel comfortable in different locations. So we were looking at a house or a living unit that can actually be flexible enough to fit in different communities. Something that can fit in the township, also be able to fit in the CBD should there be space, and if it can fit in the suburbs. So that would actually help us eliminate the problem of, you know, having to find one central place, for instance. But if we have one thing that, for instance, if one has looked at the container house revolution, if I can call it that, you find that it's something that can work in different areas. You know, problem is that regulation still doesn't, you know, it still doesn't sort of allow, it still hinders the whole industry to progress. So we were looking for something that we can have in different areas that is flexible enough, something that can also maybe you know, plug into the existing infrastructure, or be independent of itself in places where we only have those units. Then you know that they can be independent and they can also work. But if you are fitting it within a community that already has a different type of housing, then it can also plug into that. I don't know if that makes sense, but you know, we still trying to think, you know, materials, you know, the type of shape of the house that we are looking at. So yeah, we're still playing around with the ideas a bit.
Yeah, continue to fuel to fuel the flow of your ideas, and yeah, it's very good. And maybe some reaction from George and Jason on this.
I think
No,
you're right on track. I mean, at this point, as we discussed yesterday, it's about starting to follow the red threads that you see with your own customers, and but knowing that you'll always come back to where you started. So just go out, pursue more non-customers, and try to follow the insights and start developing these proto strategies.
Yeah, that's actually interesting because it's something that we had a discussion with Judith about something along those lines. So that's very interesting that you'd actually put it in that way.
Yeah, and it's, you know, you're not going to be married to the idea, but to pursue it and to test it. I mean, the 6 paths, it's a structure to test your ideas, to test your assumptions, and just use it as such.
No, 100%. Just in addition, if I can jump in, I think also another interesting thing that we discussed is that so far we found that we've only interviewed similar like people that we can put in one group. So there's still groups that we still haven't explored. And we feel that their pain points might actually point us to a much different direction from where we are now. But just to be a bit more proactive, we started using the assumption and the experience that we have, and just understanding what some of the problems that land people in certain areas. Say, for instance, in the informal settlements, for instance, so we understand that those people have completely different pain points. Their pain points might not be, they might not have anything to do with affordability, for instance. Maybe their biggest problem is location and the convenience of maybe going from work to home back and forth without maybe adding extra transport. So we started looking at all of those factors, and we started, fusing. That's where the whole flexibility thing, if we can find something that can work within different areas, be affordable, be accessible, then I think we might come out with a winner in that. Because then it should be, if it can work in the township, in the suburb, and in urban areas or in a town, then it might be something that we can also be able to plug into rural areas or just across the continent in similar areas and probably globally as well.
Yeah, and you see, you talk about mobility, access to the mobility. We could say also access to the education, access to all the services, access to the energy. And it's all connected. All your industries have very big impact, because most of these non-users, people who are excluded from the life in the city and from the services. It's not only one service. Most of the time they are excluded from all the services, from energy, from housing, from mobility, from access to the education, and so on. So it's very connected. And for instance, you talk about energy, and you talk about affordability, to access, to be able to rent or to buy a house. If you are able to let them produce their own energy, it will reduce, and they can even sell this energy to the network. And it's a big need from ESCOM to get energy in the network, and it will make maybe the house affordable for them. You can reduce the cost and selling energy. Just, you see, there are very clear connections.
That's interesting, because I was actually also thinking it on the wet waste side, or on the waste management side, and that if we are looking at a community, we can have a community that processes its waste, and when it comes out, as a product of value, a compost, maybe biogas, things of that nature. That
small energy station, to produce their own energy and maybe to sell it. Yeah, it's
100%.
connected to the group energy with BAMI and yeah, also yeah, clearly.
Yes. Because we also understand that waste management is an ongoing cost, and as so is energy use. Those are ongoing costs. So if we might be able to offset that, it's going to bring a bit more value to the customer as well.
Yeah, sure. Some reactions to this sharing? Would like to react? I see Vinny connected. Hi, Vinny. You see, yeah, it's very interesting, this connection between all your industries and this impact you can have to the same kind of non-users, or if you, yeah, maybe connect your ideas, or I don't know, make them, I would say, compatible. Okay, maybe Judith, you want to react, and because you are supporting the group yesterday. Hi, Judith.
Morning, everybody. Yeah, it is quite a number of factors that that the group actually want to integrate in terms of the structure or the housing that they want to supply to different audiences. So I think we still need to do a lot of idea generation, and like Mpho said earlier on, we also need to interview different non-customers, because at the moment it's focused around a particular group, but I think we will be able to come up with more diverse ideas once we have interviewed some of the other non-customers as well. Having said that, there's definitely a need in terms of a different housing structure, and probably more of a green structure that's flexible, and also maybe be off-grid so that people are not affected by load shedding. So yeah, there's still a lot of ideas that needs to be generated, but that will be influenced also by the responses we get from interviewees.
Yeah, very clear. I think the group seems to be on the good way also, in generating a lot of ideas. And of course, having these interviews with other groups can help you to generate more ideas, and maybe to make other previous ideas bigger or stronger. Jason and George, you want to react also? George, you are muted.
Yeah. No, as Jason says, use the 6 path to push your ideas as far as you can. It doesn't have to be where you get, doesn't have to be what you choose, but that journey out there will give you ideas. And especially if you're doing it, if you're 3 or 4, there'll be a lot of, even the same journey, you'll see different things. So it's just, as you said, it's exploration. So you go out as far as you can.
Yeah, sure. And the last industry we have here connected, it's with Itumeleng agriculture. So Itumeleng, you were yesterday you were supported by some coaches, I think, for your ideation session. Yeah.
I think, for me, the session was quite informative. I think it helped me because the idea was already there, was to sort of develop new ideas and sort of more focused and structured thinking. There were some new ideas that came from the feedback that I received and the conversations and interactions that we had. I think some of the crazy ones that were out there was
good. You are
Yeah.
already far. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, some of the crazy ones was this idea of maybe having sort of this integrated smart agriculture product. Either it would be maybe like a drone that has an app to it where the drone would fly over the field, sort of taking images and sort of making calculations on, you know, the neural network or some sort of the pipeline that we can create where we can show the farmer the progress. Because one of the pain points was that there isn't this sort of feedback that the farmers have after they've applied the product. So now this would be like an additional service, complementary service to the product itself. So those are some of the ideas that we could have then launch this subscriber service where, you know, we say to the farmer, we'll fly over your field and then we'll give you a report. And then that, because the technology already exists to do some of the work, it's just putting together some of those.
And feasibility is not a question today. And of course, and you can also use satellite and everything. It's covering all the Earth many times in the week, several times.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah, and then I think
we know a lot of startups in the BOCorners who are using these technologies very easily, and they do a lot of different things like this. Yeah, sure. And other ideas you like?
I think the other one was to this idea of creating or facilitating, sort of creating like a network where we have all of the different users that have used the product sort of integrate, so that that knowledge from different farms, regions, either from the same area or from different areas, is sort of pooled into one and sort of becomes this mega database that you know, we charge a subscription fee to anyone who'd want to have access to, because the idea is that with these networks, the more input data you have, the better predictive power you would have for whatever farm or scenario. So then we sort of collect all of that data and we sort of use it and sell the product, which would be, in this instance, like this report, could be a predictive indicator of how the farm would recover if X and Y is done, and how that data. So now the product and service is now the data, not longer the biopesticide itself, but the data generated from farms that have converted, farms that have not converted, but that sort of, that data is sort of pulled together and crunched into a report and say that, you know what, if you have these conditions in your farm, chances of this happening are this and this and this and this. So we then prescribe sort of more, it's more predictive. So that service is something that we could also have as an additional service on top of like the biopesticide itself.
And also it can be the objective, the vision that using this service, they will reduce and maybe eliminate any need of pesticide.
Exactly.
It's the best way to be bio. And also, I remember you had some ideas, where you discussed some ideas about label to be organic, to validate that, and very easily. So you are, maybe you are said by the app what to do and when, and then a very, very simple approach, very understandable, and then it's the complexity is managed by the machine, by the and you can get any label you want to have.
Exactly. And then I think two more was it. One was this idea of creating like a circular economy within the farming sector, where the service we're providing is this consultation to the farmers on how to manage the land, even they've applied the product. So either cropping with other plants, and then reselling some of the waste that is generated, you know, maybe the husks from the wheat or the stem. So that sort of gets sold to other farms around, maybe pig farmers or So sort of creating like a closed loop where waste from farms is then sold as animal food. So providing that service and being the intermediate step between different farming practices. And that also will then eliminate the waste from agriculture, but also generate new income as a supplementary income for the farmer that's using our biopesticide, and also positions ourselves as sort of the go-to person where we could sort of mediate the circular economy. And I think the last crazy one was that this idea, because one of the, when I had a conversation with a distributor, for them, it was all about making money. It wasn't really about, they didn't care where the product came from or what the end user, how they used it. So one of the things that was highlighted was that a lot of these farmers don't have the risk that they had in transitioning to organic farming or more sustainable agricultural practices, is that they don't get the insurance from the land banks. So the idea would be, I don't know, creating some sort of a platform that would make these farmers more insurable to these land banks. So I don't know how that would work, but the idea is that if we are able to create some sort of a certificate or some sort of not a regulatory body, but a way that we can assure the banks that when farmers transition into this new agricultural practice, they will be guaranteed yield of this much and this much, and that will make them more insurable, and then that will then facilitate and speed up the transition into using our product. And that
from an independent organization, certification organization, you give the label. It said, okay, he can either he can pay the insurance and everything.
Exactly, because we now, I think, they already do that with meat in South Africa, where we have like certified organic lamb, but we don't really have that sort of standard when it comes to crops. So I think providing that kind of service and product to these insurance companies would, give us much more authority on how, and also give us more credibility to help farmers to transition to this new way this radical way of doing agriculture, actually.
And also regarding the maximization of the revenues for the farmer, we discuss
for us as well.
Yeah, and we discussed with Bami, Brighton, and Canayo this power supply. It's one of their ideas. This little power supply station it can be also deployed in the farm by the farmer, managed by the farmers to use the waste and produce energy. And
locally,
it can get locally and for the people around and municipalities, and it can get also more revenues this way. You see again connection between your industries, and very clear.
I think one of the ideas, space that I need to sort of think more deeply is this idea. I like this idea of sort of creating a circular economy within the agriculture sector where there's zero wastage, and I think the idea of recycling the waste or byproducts from certain agricultural practices, those be as input for other processes. So I think it's something that I'll have to think there's opportunity there for sure.
I think so. It's interesting. Maybe some reactions from the other participants, and also Jason and George.
Alba, can I just add something?
Yes, sure. You follow this group from the beginning.
No, that's fine. We also discussed that with this possibility of having a, for lack of a better word, a data hub in terms of, and also reports in terms of what is very effective with this new type of farming, is actually to empower the less experienced young farmers to become more productive in a very short period of time, because Itumeleng will be able to give them reports in terms of what is working and what is not working, and almost put them on a path of success, because from the start, you're actually setting them up for success in a very challenging industry. So yeah, those reports can help them in terms of, and obviously then give them advice in terms of what are the services and products that they need to use to become more productive, and also in that transition to organic farming. So yeah, that type of service is I think it's really a very effective and efficient way of farming. Thank you.
Thanks, Judith. I was just writing that out. I forgot about it, but that's one of the things that that's a really good one, actually. I'm just noting it down in the platform.
Yeah, and also we talk with the mobility group EcoBicycle about using ways to produce goods. Of course, the farmer could be, and the farm could be like a plant generating new using the waste and transforming the waste in material, raw materials, maybe to be used by the plants to build products, and by mold injection, like Mia said, and using maybe mushrooms to transform this waste into something else, and using the chemistry like we discussed with Stephen from Veolia. You see a lot of is possible. So and this farms, they are maybe a good place, to fuel, to bring some materials to all industries around, or to treat. Okay, some reaction, Jason, George?
No, I'd spent quite a lot of time and a lot of ideas of getting data, sharing data, and the idea of, the data bank, also using video storytelling, so farmers who are successful can tell new farmers how it worked, what didn't work, etc. So all that is now very possible. So I think it's on a good path.
I think our first session of ideation, I think it's good. I don't know, Jason, if you want to complete or react. Yeah. So maybe it's not here. So I will share my screen now. Just so some tips about your ID for your ID selection. You are not yet in this part, but just to make you ready, I already shared with you by email yesterday all this process, the slides I'm showing now. So this ideation, and you need to select at the end when you have maybe when your flow of IDs is over, when you add maybe 100, maybe 150 IDs per group, you are ready to select and to make some choice. When you have discussed, it makes the IDs bigger, more solid, more resistant, more strong, and then you have to select. So you can use this map called Pms Map. So you see, you make it's a segmentation of your IDs. Each bubble is your ID. It's pioneer on the top when it's really value innovation. It means it's something really new. It means that it does not exist anywhere. You will bring some new value to the market. In the middle here, migrator, the M of PMS, it means it's a value improvement. So it's you improve some feature on the existing offering, And Settler, it's copycat. You do some very few improvements. You are still in the red ocean. So that's on the y-axis, and then on the x-axis, it's the TTM, time to market, the time you will need to deliver this project, this new offering on the market. So you are in the more detailed view. It's like this. You can have also each bubble, or it can be a post-it. You see, and you can use on the wall. And you can they can have a different color based on the market potential you identify. So how many non-users, how many users, how many customers, non-customers you will address with this ID. So it can be also another interesting information to take into account. So on the y-axis is divergence level of divergence with settler, migrators, pioneers, and on the x-axis you can have this time to market period. So how long it will be to deliver this project, and also this 6 months, 18 months. It can be adapted based on your own industry. So you have this, you have received yesterday this PowerPoint, and you can directly edit it and use it if you need it for your selection of ideas. So what we will do no, it's so I propose we meet again for the sharing session at 4 p.m. And maybe earlier if you are ready. And you have, yesterday I shared again this slide just to remind you, this ideation process. First step, you need to share and discuss the key needs you have identified. It's very important to be very clear and infused by these key needs you have identified. And it's maximum 4, I think. If you are more than 4, it means is big elements. You have not clearly identified the big elements yet. You need to be more selective. So 4, I think it's maximum. So you summarize these key learnings, these key needs you have identified. And when you are clear about them and you have shared them with your team, with your coaches, and discussed, so it has been infused in you, then you go to the second step. Like we said, it's this step. It's each member of the ideation group are alone first for 10 or 20 minutes, and they put the right ideas directly on the platform. Using here the focalization. So with the key needs, you read each of the paths, each of the description of each path one by one, and you make a focalization on the key need. It will make you generate very potentially good Blue Ocean ideas. You see, it's very easy because yes, I had some question about that. It's quite easy on your own. I'm doing this time trends here. I read the first one. There is a growing movement to know where our food comes from society. Okay, on this key need, but the agriculture, like we said, it's a lot about simplicity, clearly about simplicity to make the agriculture more easy for him to manage his plant and to understand what he's using in pesticide and so on. So, okay, if I focalize on this need, this trend, growing movement to know where our food comes from society, okay, it makes me having some new ideas, like the tracking, like we said, tracking of the food, and I can help and support the agriculture to be compatible with all this tracking system, label system with, you know, organic and everything, and they need to respect a lot of rules. They don't always understand, and so we can support them in that. And it's line by line, okay? Emphasis on child nutrition. It's a trend, clearly it's a big trend, child nutrition. If I make a focus on this simplification for this key need, simplification for the agriculture, it's, for instance, okay, how can I support him to select the right materials, the right vegetables and fruits he should have in the farm to be covering this big market of the child nutrition exploding. So, and I will again, it's connected to the revenue. It's optimization of the farm, focalizing on this child nutrition. So I will provide him some, maybe consulting, maybe a mobile app, maybe some equipment to be able to address this child nutrition market very easily. You see, it's a new idea again. Airline move to be conscious of food they serve. Okay, okay, with this simplification, this reduce the complexity for the agriculture. Focus again. It makes some ideas like okay, oh, I could. It's the idea maybe to support the agriculture in the addressing several segments of his customers. For instance, what would be his farm is selection of vegetable and fruit or meat in the farm. If you want to address especially this or this segment, for instance, restaurant, for instance, airline, for instance, I don't know, hotels or three-star restaurant, or okay, I can help him to build his farm and all the process in his farm and all the choice he has to do in his farm to address this or this specific industries as segment in his customers, or people who buy his vegetable and fruit. You see, it's again another idea. I don't know, Itumeleng, what you think about this new ideas?
Yeah, no, I'm writing them down.
You're writing, okay, good. It's a good reflex.
Yeah.
So you see the mechanism, and when you each member of your workshop of your ideation group for 10-20 minutes as proceed like this on each of the paths, then you can share all together. So, and of course you need to list all ideas exactly like Itumeleng were doing, and you list all ideas and then you share each of these ideas. Here there is, in the description you see on the idea, there are some elements that will be very useful for you in the selection, where at the beginning when your objective is now to have a maximum of ideas. You don't need to give details onto each idea. You just need to give a name, a title, and maybe some details in the value proposition. That's all. But when you will discuss these ideas and go back to these ideas and challenge these ideas in the group and with the coaches and everything, and when you will go back, then the ideas you like and ideas you want to merge, you will need more details, and here you will be able to fill in these details. And you see it again, it can be interesting, the select path part, when you select to which path it's connected. It's good because it just to let you know, okay, I've made or I've explored each of the 6 paths. I have ideas from each of the 6 paths. It's okay, I'm full of ideas. And just to be sure that you miss nothing in your ideation. But you see non-customer addressed, eliminated. What you eliminate, what you create, you remember with the value curves. it's compared to the standard offering to your competitors on the industry. It's a good start to make your ID one step further, to make your ID more strong. But it's when you go back to these IDs, you can give these details and think about, okay, these IDs of, for instance, like we said, the last one, or I can support the agriculture to address specific segment of his clients, like restaurant, hotels, or airline companies and everything. Okay, when I come back to this ID, what is exactly the value proposition? Who are the non-customers of the industry addressed by this ID? Maybe some agriculture farmers who have problems of revenues, or maybe farmers who are maybe far from the city and cannot have easy access to clients, to his clients. So there are maybe some profile of non-customers, and what I've eliminated and what I've created with this ID, it's maybe I eliminate, I reduce and maybe eliminate some complexity, or maybe eliminate some, the marketing. He does not need to do marketing if the production is fitting, it's exactly what this or this segment of customer, like restaurant, needs in terms of calibration, size, and everything. It does not need to do marketing or sales, or to go on the market and to go on the open markets. And it can be eliminated. And what is created, it's clearly, it's a very, it's clearly the ability to maybe to create new fit with the clients, and a new relation with the clients, and maybe a business connection, a direct business connection to the clients, because it's exactly understanding and fitting all the needs they have, which are certainly specific to their industry. So this is, you see, you can you see, it's how you make the ID bigger, and then it's a first step to have your matrix, your Brownian matrix, because Brownian matrix, it's made of this information. It will be the next step from the 3rd of February. And then here the fourth step, it will be the selection. So you can use, as we shared, you can use this PMS map, and you have this reorder feature. So you can make a prioritization. You can prioritize your IDs, make a ranking of these IDs. You can go back to these IDs to give them more details. Like we said, you can merge them, and you can create you can add new IDs which are a merger of several IDs you already had, and reorder them. And you can use this PMS map. If this reorder feature is not enough, you can use the PMS map to make your choice very easily. You see the PMS map here. Like we said, you can use, you have this template, like I said, we have shared yesterday by email. Okay, are there some questions about this? Yeah, you have the full process, the first step, and you have the templates, you have the platform to list your IDs and to reorder and to complete IDs. Do you have some question here? Yeah, Bami, you ask if we can run through the PMS? Yeah, of course. It's here, you see, it's the bubble here, it's IDs, for instance, here on this template, these numbers, it's you see the numbers you have here in your ID list. These are numbers, so you can put these numbers here. I can show you. So when I edit it, okay, you see here, you have here, for instance, yeah, I don't know, airbag in the bicycle, or tailor-made seat, or holding bags. So ID number 1, ID number 2. I take ID number 2 here, and which color is it? Is it a big market potential? It's orange. No, it's yeah, it's small. It's medium is green. Small is blue. So, and then I will move it to the right cell. Is it a pioneer? So, or migrator or settler? What is the level of divergence? So it's settler when I just do nothing new to compare to the standard offerings. You know, remember your value curves. Here you need all what you have, all the work you have done before, especially the value curves and the strategic canvas. You have with this strategic canvas a clear understanding of what is this value already proposed on the industry. So if I compare to this value curves you have already drawn on your strategic canvas, this ID number 2, is it proposing a standard value, so something already proposed by the competitor, or is it improving, making maybe something not really new but improved? It's better. So it's medium here. And is it something unique? Does it bring some created elements? You know, that's why in the ID select ID definition you have this created part and eliminated. So if it's something eliminated or created, it's pioneer because it's unique. You bring unique value. Yeah. And second question, it would be here for the x-axis. Is it short term, mid-term, long term to deliver it to the market, to the time to go to the market? So yeah, short term, mid-term, or long term. That's all. Does it answer your question, Bami? Yeah, okay. Do we have other questions? Or reactions, comments? And of course, Jason and George, if you want to share maybe some tips here, or to select, to use this PMS map for the ideation. You are muted, George.
There should be one button. Now, if your group has generated 100 or 150 ideas, then this is a good way to sort it by looking at, you know, are you creating something new or not? Because when you're generating the ideas, I guess they're just ideas that are coming out of the conversations, out of the non-customer interviews, etc. And then this is, you know, it's a quick way of selecting the 3 or 4 ideas. And if you are using it this way, then I wouldn't discard a migrator idea right away, because a migrator might be the first, you know, if you have your timeline, you might want to launch perhaps with the migrator if you have a pioneer that will take a year to come into the market. If this migrator will prepare the ground, the terrain, it could be a good way, because, you know, you might not find this pioneer idea right away, but something that is something that your non-customer interviews have led you to believe that there is this gap, then it could be a good way to have something right away and then move on. But it has to follow the same logic as your eventual migrator. Otherwise, you're just doing marketing and chucking things. There has to be a plan. If the migrator can help you move, if you
this cross here, you can see.
Yeah, if it prepares the ground, prepares the customers, prepares your users, then you can push them further. Like the drone idea, maybe you're not going to do the drones right away, but while you're building up your database, even the 5 or 6 items in your database will create value already. It might not be that different from what's available in some form, but you already have created a movement and you're preparing the ground. If you use farming terms, you're kind of sowing the seed to reap a crop in the next season.
Yeah, these red bubbles, it can become blue. Oh, you see these arrows. Yeah, very clear. And Mia, you raise your hand.
Thank you. George actually just explained what I was going to ask. I was wanting to ask what that trajectory means on the current slide of red ocean now, but you can move it with time towards blue ocean. But George's answer, got it. Thank you.
Jason, you want to complete, share some tips for this selection? I don't know, maybe Jason, you are muted. I don't know if it's. Maybe there is a problem. Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Yes, sorry, we had a power outage. We had our own load shedding here. Yeah, so the PMS map is very good to help us scope and what is, especially for a startup, if you think you're a pioneer, you think you're the only one in the market, you think you're the best of the best, but you're really not there. That's where you should start. Or out of the startup realm, we work with a lot of large corporations who are very much settlers, and it's another place to start. If your settler is something that you rely upon for your future, and it's just not moving anywhere, that's another place to start. Migrator, great, as George said, it's a great place to be. But the reason why we made the word migrator is because you will move. Most likely, with just the laws of economics, you will be a settler. So you're not going to be on top for very long. So that's another place to start, because you'll depend upon it as it becomes a settler, but you've got to create more pioneers. So that's my 2 cents on the poorly named PMS map. I have no idea why it came to that, but it's very effective in scoping and really hitting the nail on the head of are we actually that good?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jason. So some question here before we split in a workshop in groups. Yeah, Maya say, thanks, Jason. Stay aware of the shift and movements in the market. One will not stay where you started. Yeah, exactly. And normally, yeah, for a startup, it's easy. It's easier than for a big company to start directly from scratch, because you start from scratch. You can directly start at in the blue, or most as blue as possible, because you have no past, no history, no cost, no. You just need some investment and investors to follow you. That's all. When you're a big company, you have an history. It's not, you cannot start from scratch. You already have running businesses, and and most of them are certainly in the red part, in the settler part. It's not easy to move. So this is one of your key for you. It's very, for all entrepreneurs here, it will be easier to start more in the blue. You need to be confident and to be ambitious. Yeah, it's possible. All is possible, and especially when the big companies in your industry were failing or were not enough ambitious, not because they can't, but because they have an history, they have employees, they have running businesses. So you have the agility for you. You need to use it. Okay. So if there are no questions or reactions, it's okay. Judith, Mia, I see the coaches who are here. Judith, Mia, it was we had Rezibi, but I think she's not here. Okay, and it's okay for you, Mia and Judith? You feel confident? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
We'll get engaged.
Yeah. Great. Okay. So let's split in groups.